The internet has finally managed to stop iilluminautii's retaliation against her victims, at least for now. If you haven't been following the situation, you can find a recap of the entire Illuminaughtii saga in the description below. But for a quick refresher, Illuminaughtii, aka Blair, is a YouTuber known for her videos covering pyramid schemes, multi-level marketing, and the general exploitation of the more vulnerable. She quickly found herself gaining millions of views and allegedly making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month while becoming a powerhouse in the video essay genre. But cracks began to form in that image after Blair began a very public and petty feud with YouTuber Legal Eagle over him utilizing similar editing effects as her, with Blair going so far as to label this plagiarism. And amidst the backlash for Illuminautii's attempt at character assassination based on incredibly flimsy claims, multiple former members of the collab channel Sad Milk released Twitter threads describing a history of obsessive and hostile behavior from Blair, escalating to basically a conspiracy. This included the Click and OneTopic, who shared their experiences with Blair attempting to ruin them from the shadows by spreading false rumors of them being childlikers.
And here's a tweet from Illuminaughtii saying, "Casual reminder, pedophilia is never a gray area." Immediately after announcing her departure from Sad Milk, within 3 hours, this statement was made by Illuminaughtii and retweeted by Sad Milk. This, as anyone would know, started many rumors.
Spamming alt accounts.
We were surprised by the Reddit posts, certainly. The details from the troll account were so specific. It became clear the harassment was not intended to stop.
This is her on an alt account, spreading misinformation and trying to enhance her own image. "Hey, listen, Blair, I'm putting this all together." Well, this is all Blair replying to her own announcement under an alt account. And it keeps going.
And trying to turn their communities and other creators against them while driving a wedge between the two close friends.
It's tagging a bunch of people from the community and salty. It's tagging Amanda the Jedi. We had her on the guest on the podcast, and you come after Amanda the Jedi?
And OneTopic is friends with someone while pretending to be wholesome and good. I think OneTopic is a liar and a sham, and has been pandering to our community. If he stays friends with someone like this, he is using us for money.
Also sharing their stories were Oz Media and Wonderstruck, who detailed the shared experience of being financially extorted by Blair.
"She had a hand in every single aspect of my life, and at any moment she could take it away when she felt, which is exactly what happened."
This ledger would creep into the range of $180,000, an insurmountable amount where I don't even understand how she got there. This ledger also includes things such as a non-refundable design fee and land deposit on a multi-million-dollar custom home that she threatened to break up with me if I didn't agree to proceed on this with her.
And in the immediate aftermath of these claims, Illuminaughtii faced massive backlash for essentially committing the very atrocities she was known for exposing. And in the months since these four formed their united front against Blair, she ended up retaliating against both Wonder and Oz. In Wonder's case, this involved attempted character assassination during Illuminautii's widely panned response, Illuminaughtii Exposed. This video saw Blair outing very personal parts of Wonder's mental health, including broadcasting his potential suicide note.
What she did to Wonder is the most gross expose I have ever seen. Not only does she openly share his potential suicide note, she also shares images and talking points suggesting this man is at the end of his rope. Kicking downwards is an understatement.
As well as attempting to portray him as a lazy freeloader.
"I have always been a very independent person. I have never had someone else pay my rent once in my life, and I have been living on my own since I was 18. To try to paint me as a freeloader feels like a contorted attack on who I am as a person."
As for Oz, he revealed that he and Blair actually dated at one point, and that during this relationship, she allegedly coerced him into signing incredibly unforgiving financial documents that listed Oz's home as collateral.
What I can only describe as retaliation from the person who's my ex, former employer, and prior colleague, Blair is in the process of currently foreclosing my home.
And it's important to note that in their relationship, Blair appeared to use several power imbalances to her benefit.
Blair and I dated. We started when I was 20 and she was 28. Blair, with her lawyer, would create an honestly quite confusing legal document for me to sign. I couldn't afford legal representation. She knew this.
And possibly used Oz's past trauma as a means to coerce him.
She essentially explained to me that because she used company funds to assist me, that she had committed embezzlement. My mother was incarcerated for this exact crime. Blair was aware of this past of mine, but the idea of another person I loved being locked away, but this time for my actions, words cannot describe the guilt that I had.
And this mirrored a lot of Wonder's story, where she gained financial power over him as a means of control to ensure his loyalty. loyalty.
I'll get into how over time Blair would have controlled every aspect of my life, be it transportation, income, and housing.
As you can see with Wonder, Blair has a habit of taking advantage of younger men, 8 years younger than her, and their financial illiteracy for her own personal gain.
Eventually, Blair sent cease and desist letters to both Oz and Wonder, which they responded to with incredibly successful crowdfunding campaigns, and Oz announced that he was working on a detailed expose meant to highlight as much of Blair's abusive past as possible.
But I'm also continually uncovering more segments to the story and hearing more and more voices that come forward to speak their side of things. Interviews, questionnaires, screenshots, the works. All from a number of individuals.
But okay, what's new? Well, for starters, yet another of Blair's former employees have revealed that she's suing them much like Oz and Wonder, but the similarities don't end there. Because in the case of this employee, Felix, Blair sent the papers to an address they no longer reside at, as was the case with Wonder. And Blair is allegedly trying to use Felix's inaction, since he didn't get the papers, to force a default judgment for the case. For context, this was the employee who provided evidence that was crucial for Click proving Blair's behavior, such as the messages of Illuminati paying people to dig up dirt on Click, as well as Blair's connection to her alt accounts. And as the Click points out, Blair specifically checks that Felix is financially desperate before offering him the money, which yeah, I can't help but read as incredibly exploitative. So this all just keeps getting worse. But I did promise at least some good news, right? What did I mean? Well, Oz had previously mentioned that he was facing a serious risk of losing his home by Christmas.
I need to pump the brakes and change directions so I won't be homeless come Christmas. Because that's when Blair set my home to foreclose, right before Christmas.
A deadline that snuck up very quickly. So Oz took to Twitter and announced that they would be streaming in order to raise what's known as a cure amount, which is essentially a second chance to meet the terms of your contract after failing to before more serious consequences are enacted. In Oz's case, this would have meant his home being auctioned off to repay his debts. And while I can't show the documentation due to privacy concerns that I don't want to risk, I did go over the 4 pages that Oz shared. Basically, he's required to pay a total of over $15,000 between Illuminati and Blair. And no, I didn't misspeak. It turns out that Oz's agreements were with both Blair as an individual, but also the company she runs. And it makes sense that Oz is having such a hard time keeping up with this, since it seems he's being forced to pay for Blair's legal fees twice, and that alone makes up 10% of this total. And I want to point out that these documents are dated from August, which to me backs up what Oz shared, that he was turning to his audience as a last resort.
You should have asked sooner. #hugs, please say hi.
This was literally a last resort.
But Oz's crowdfunding event was last night, and despite him planning on a stream that was up to 24 hours long, it ended up being just under 7. So why? Well, it's because the stream went amazingly. Oz set a goal of $10,000, not even the full 15K, and expressed that his expectations for how much he would actually raise was relatively low.
This was supposed to be a 24-hour stream where I was hoping to maybe hit $3,000.
Yet he made his goal within 20 minutes.
I thought it would take, if I was lucky, like 5 streams to hit where we're at right now. I don't even know what to say.
And even went on to earn over triple that amount.
No matter how many times I try to express gratitude, I'll never be able to properly thank all of you for what you all have done for me today.
Cryptic Gabriel has...
And we hit $33,000 right as I was wrapping things up. Look at that.
And as someone who's been watching the situation from the start, Oz seems to be in a much better place overall now. For example, OneTopic and Wonder both partook in the stream, while Click donated and showed his support in chat.
Hey, Wonder, go run down the hallway. Go run down that hallway. Oh wait, you're OneTopic.
Run down that hallway.
No, run down this hallway.
I don't trust you for anything.
Click. 269 sec.
See, Oz had explained that Blair caused him to be isolated from his friends, including the other Sad Milk members.
All of my connections had to be approved by her. I wasn't allowed to be friends with people she didn't like, such as Click and OneTopic, or even Wonder, once that bridge was burned and reduced to cinders.
This even involved Oz joining in on her grudges against the others, though Wonder described his first-hand experience with being in this position and how Blair had made him feel like participating in this behavior was in his best interest.
I'd like to point out that I directly lied on this post. I believed Blair had my best interest at heart and was being thorough with me. I have since been proven that this was far from the case.
And to give you an idea of how much these connections eroded for Oz, take Wonder. Even as another victim of Blair, he described being very hesitant to speak to Oz when the latter reached out, and explained it took Oz time and effort to earn his forgiveness and trust.
I was highly skeptical, which I made note of. I was still very much on edge with my trust, but over the last few months, Oz has made countless efforts to prove not only to me, but to everyone every other former Sad Milk member that he truly was sorry for the role he played in anything that took place. It shows a tremendous amount of strength, and Oz will always have my respect as a person for what he has done. I don't blame him for his role. He was in an abusive situation and had every reason to fear Blair. I feared her too for a very long time.
And during his stream, Oz expressed such intense gratitude for having the chance to reforge these friendships.
I have missed all the friends that I've lost throughout all of this, and being able to like actually sit down and play games with them again after all these years is...
It's not much, but I still wanted to help.
It's so good.
And honestly, I'm really glad to see they're at the point where the pieces are starting to be picked up, even if the situation is far from over. I mean, watching the stream, I couldn't help but notice how panicked and just tired Oz sounded. For example, with the financial security this money was able to provide him in the short term, Oz talks about how this will allow him not to buy luxuries or spend money frivolously, but just go back to actually living instead of just surviving.
I'm gonna be able to buy furniture, I'm gonna be able to keep the house, I'm gonna be able to live here, I'm gonna be able to enjoy. I can't even describe or talk about walking into a room and thinking like, oh, it'd be cool if I could like put this art here or like hang up a disc plate or something, and then hit with the crushing realization of like, why bother? We're gonna have to take it down.
And he described just how far he planned on going in order to stay awake to raise this money, and yeah, he needed this win.
I was fully prepared to be streaming for 24 hours to be able to hit my goal. Like, I even have like my ADHD medication here to keep me pumping for when I start to fall asleep. Hell, this right here is an electric tweezer. I was literally going to like tweeze my legs with an electric tweezer to cause pain to give myself the adrenaline to keep myself awake for a 24-hour stream in hopes of maybe hitting like $5,000. I was ready to go through some very like torturous ways of keeping myself awake so that way I could hit a fraction of what you guys have been generous enough to help me with.
And I will say, I'm a cynic who tries to view these situations with caution, but honestly, Oz just came off as really sincere to me. Once he reached his goal, he made it abundantly clear on screen that he didn't need more donations. He also just went on to host a normal stream and seemed to even forget about the money.
Hey, Wonder. Hey, Wonder. Good night, sweet prince. Ah, never mind.
Whereas it would have been very easy and even understandable for him to keep increasing the goal to provide future security. He even kept the stream going after the donations had died down despite being vocally tired.
I feel bad because I promised like a 24-hour stream. I don't think I'm gonna go for the full 24 hours, but I'm gonna definitely try pushing it for as long as I can. I don't mind continuing to stream.
Again, it's just my opinion, but seeing the difference between how Blair insists on staying in the shadows and escalating this, while Oz and Wonder show such transparency and earnestness, I just can't picture a scenario where Blair somehow turns this around. And Oz went on to end the stream with a message of hope and relief despite the fight ahead.
I love all of you for what you've managed to help me get through. This is a chapter on my life that I will actually be able to close. I'm gonna go get some sleep, some actual sleep. Sleep where I don't wake up with a panic attack, sleep where I don't have a nightmare. Thank you.
Because no, this isn't over. He still has to battle it out in court and finish his expose. And I think what really puts into perspective the effect that Blair's managed to have on him is what Oz resolved to do as soon as the stream was over.
Honestly, I'm gonna do some cleaning. Some midnight cleaning. My neighbors are gonna think I'm crazy, but I'm gonna do some cleaning.
And while this is a much shorter update than usual, honestly, I'm really glad it is. This whole situation has been pretty disturbing to follow, so I'm glad for once we can just celebrate good news. It also doesn't hurt that it makes this way easier to edit in one night. But look at that, I finally get to end one of these with something other than saying Blair is screwed. But yeah, Blair is screwed. Bye!